Today, Beth asked me to make a short video about identifying the participants in a focus group. Now, focus groups can be hard, especially if you don't know how many people are in the room and if they don't introduce themselves. If they don't introduce themselves, the process of identifying them will be harder because people's voices can change depending on their mood at each moment. If they're confident, they might be louder and fuller, but if they're unsure, they could be quieter and higher in pitch. So at the beginning, I try to find a spot where each of the different participants speaks for a fair amount of time so you have a good reference point for how they're talking, because they tend to level out the more that they talk. So what I do is I make a little reference file for on this side where I keep track of some information to help me identify that person as I move through the file. This one actually had 8 participants, which is a lot, plus an interviewer, so there were a lot of people. I mark on this the first time that they talked. I mark which participant they are, if they listed their name, and sometimes if they've listed what kind of a job they have or something like that, because that can help as they're talking, because they might reference in this office or something like that. What I also do is I make a note of what kind of a voice do they have. Do they have a deep voice, a strong medium voice? Are they quiet? Do they have a childlike voice? Do they have a deep voice? Are they a man or a woman? You also might have accents. I had one that was kind of South African, Asian. You can get a Southern accent, different kinds. An English accent, that can really help to identify the different people. Another thing I do is if there's a second reference point, I might mark that time code as well, just if I need to bounce back and forth. But the most helpful thing that I find is I use Audacity to make a short audio clip that then I link on that file as well. That way, as I'm listening, if I can't really tell because maybe their voice are a little quieter than normal and I'm having trouble distinguishing, then I can play that audio file and listen to it and hit with my pedal and listen to them talk and play the audio file. And then if I'm not sure, I can pick a different person and go back and forth until I'm sure who it is. Now this helps most of the time, but there are some times when you're still having difficult and really it's still really difficult. So on those points, Beth has a file about how to handle questions. Some of these tips will also be helpful. This is called How to Handle Questions. So some of these tips are also helpful for identifying speakers. You can adjust the volume up and down. Sometimes that can help you to make it more clear, especially if they got quieter, make them a little louder and see if that helps. Try to change the speed, sometimes slowing them down or speeding them up a little bit. Listen with and without headphones or with a different type of headphone that maybe the sound's a little different. Some of the other ones here are mostly for identifying phrases people are saying. But down here are some more. Take a short break. That can be helpful. You can have somebody else who we work with listen to the clip that you can't identify and then maybe send them the 2 people who you can't tell between. So those are some good tips there, and you can read through those. At a last resort, and if I still really cannot tell and I don't want to give them, mark them incorrectly, I will just mark them as a female speaker or a male speaker and then make a note, make another Audacity clip of the beginning part of where they talk, put that in the file, and then let the client know that at this point I had great difficulty distinguishing because maybe they were talking at the same time or they were really quiet, something like that, and tell them that that clip is in there, maybe tell them at what point that is in the file so that they can check. Maybe they don't care and they'll just erase it and won't worry about it because it might not matter that much to them, or maybe they can actually distinguish who that person is, but that's the last resort. So hopefully this helps. I do have the video that I did on how to make the Audacity clips, and Beth can make that available and send that to you. And then Beth can make that question file available. I'm also going to make sure that I send or have Beth will have this file as well that has a list of the different kinds of notes that I will take so that you can use that and help you to come up with your own types of notes for that to help you identify speakers. So I hope these tips help, and thank you very much for listening.